Welcome into another edition of the Second Half Draft Show brought to you by Couch Potato General Manager. I'm your host, Juice, joined by Headley and Drew. Gents, obviously another riveting week of college football play. Of course, that means we had more film to study as we get closer and closer, inching closer to draft season, the 2023 NFL Draft. We're taking you through the entire season every Friday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, covering draft prospects for the upcoming draft. For all the draft degenerates, this is the place to be. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to start with LSU and Arkansas, all right, in terms of our games from last week and the prospects. And then, of course, we got a true freshman that had a huge monster game. Of course, we're not going to get into that individual too much because he's not draft eligible, but low-scoring affair, lots of draft prospects. Drew, what were your thoughts?
You said it, bro. It was a low-scoring affair, and I'm going to be honest with you. If KJ Jefferson plays, bro, Arkansas wins that game. And Arkansas actually had to – so they're playing their backup. Backup wasn't playing well, and they put in the third string. And he ain't do much of nothing either. B.J. Ojulari, bro.
That's the guy.
That game right there, that's the type of game that'll catapult you to first edge overall, bro. Because he was all over the place, bro. They was running twists and stunts up front, bro. He was killing it with that, bro. He was a big problem for them both in the run and the pass. You know about Harold Perkins, number 40, bro.
People might not know about him. They gonna know about him. They might not know about him just yet, but true freshman.
He was. You want to talk about dominate? It was him. And it was Ojulari all day long, bro, just dominating, bro. And Perkins was making plays that was just crazy, bro. He stripped sacks, knocking balls in the air, bro, getting the plays. I'm like, he's not going to get to him, bro. No, he got to him, bro. And real quick in terms of Jalen, oh my God, I forgot the quarterback's name. Daniels, Jesus. Part of LSU's offense is if ain't nobody open, I'm going to run. Or if it ain't there, I'm going to run, right? He couldn't do that this game. You know why? Because number 10, Bumper Pool, and number 42, Drew Sanders was hunting his ass all game long, bro. They had a really good game plan, and I think that the O-line for LSU, I think they kind of reverted back to the first couple of weeks of the season, bro. The boys are struggling. I know them boys coming off a high. We were SEC champs. We go into the thing, you know what I'm saying? So, but you almost got caught, bro. You almost got caught. Receivers wasn't getting no separation. You know what I'm saying? The Arkansas secondary ain't, it ain't world beaters. LSU's supposed to have these guys at the receiver position. Them boys wasn't getting no separation. So and when they won, Arkansas defensive line and front seven was getting pressure, bro. So, it was a defensive game, and really the running back for LSU,
Josh Williams.
Yeah, I know some people like him, bro. I'm just gonna say this, bro. I think he's a grinder. He's a guy you can lean on. In that game in particular, I don't know that he played all that great. I think the weaknesses of both Bumper Pool and Drew Sanders, sometimes them boys get caught in the wash, bro. And boys coming up so fast, so hard, get caught up, and it was easy for him to just kind of, hit the back door or kind of press the hole, have those guys come up and then hit it. You know what I mean? So he's okay, bro. I'm gonna watch more of his game, but he doesn't impress me when you think about all the running backs that are coming out this year, possibly coming out this year.
Yeah, definitely a deep class. You know what I mean? You're going to have it's a challenge to stand out considering all the talent in this running back class.
Okay.
Perfect spot for LSU to have a letdown, right? You come off the big win against Bama, you're riding high, you've been playing really well, and then of course you're playing an undermanned Arkansas team here without their signal card. When KJ Jefferson's been in the lineup, he's been really good. But unfortunately, he didn't play in this game. He's missed several games, and you just didn't have your best stuff. But the usual suspects on the defensive side of the ball, Baskerville, among others, and AJ. I mean, they showed up and they played well. And you mentioned it, B.J. Ojulari. As we're talking about draft prospects, draft eligible players, Ojulari was terrific. He was a difference maker. You know what I mean? And the conversation regarding whether or not he is just a pure pass rusher, that doesn't do him justice. You know what I'm saying? He makes plays against the run, setting the edge. You know what I mean? Being an enforcer, being physical, not just bending the edge, not just being a pass rusher. So really impressive stuff from the LSU defense, as well as the Arkansas defense. But certainly Ojulari, I think, helped himself a ton in this particular contest. Headley, were there any players in this one that you thought played particularly well, or you had any strong impressions on?
Yeah, I think Drew said it. It's the linebackers from Arkansas, Drew Sanders, Bumper Pool, but in particular, Drew Sanders. He's just a wrecking ball. He comes downhill really fast. He goes sideline to sideline. He affects the pass game and the run game. I think he leads the SEC in sacks right now. And he's an off-the-ball linebacker, formerly an edge, so he can do both. He's one of those guys, we talk about Michael Parsons and guys like that can do both. Drew Sanders can do both. And he just runs with his hair on fire all the time and all over the place. He's going to rack up tackles at the next level. And like I said in previous broadcasts, whoever drafts him, it's going to be a steal, man, because he's going to produce right away for that NFL team.
All right, let's move on to another SEC contest, Alabama at Ole Miss. And I'm going to start with you, Headley. Your thoughts on this particular contest?
I thought I was watching the Alabama offense a lot. They pulled it out. I thought Jackson Dart was a little shook in this one. Watching the front four get after him, he was watching the rush. But I was looking at the Bama offense, in particular the offensive line. Tyler Steen, Emil Ikiyor, those are the main two guys on the offensive line, and they're really good run blocking, but in pass protection, I think it's a little shaky, a little inconsistent. I feel bad for Bryce Young because not only he doesn't have the big play receivers, but the offensive line, I think, is letting him down a little bit in the passing game. But decision making in high pressure situations is top notch, so he usually gets away with it a lot. But he doesn't have much help out there. And talking about the Bama offensive line, the run game, Jahmyr Gibbs, he got injured, ankle injury. Jace McClellan came in, the backup, and he's a tough runner. His feet never stops moving. He gains that additional yardage. So, he equipped himself really well. He should be in this draft class as well. And then the tight end, Latu, he continues to make plays. I know he's been inconsistent throughout his career there, but, the subtle route running, the tough hands through contact, I think that could help an NFL team at the next level. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Byron Young, I know Drew probably going to get into him a little bit, but he had a huge game, affected in the run and the pass, especially in the fourth quarter. As the game kept on going, it was just crunch time. He just got harder and harder to block. And I want to talk about Brian Branch and coverage, and actually all over the place. He made that play against Mingo on the last play for Ole Miss. He showcased his versatility to guard. One of the top receivers is going to be in the Senior Bowl, Mingo. And, he covered him like a blanket, perfect, got the pass deflection, got the win, but he comes downhill, he guards the run. I just think he's just an all-around terrific safety at the next level. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a first-round pick. And then Will Anderson, he just does it every week. It's like Ojulari, where they might not have 2-3 sacks in the game, but they're affecting the play on every single play.
But before we get into Drew's analysis for this particular game, I think Branch is a guy that we're going to hear his name a lot in the coming months, right? It's been kind of quiet as far as the buzz around him, not his play per se, but the buzz around him has been minimal to this point. But I think that's going to pick up here. I think the NFL scouting community and analysts, as they watch film and revisit film, they're going to notice that he's really been one of the better players, particularly on that back end of that Bama defense. So, and then of course the versatility that he offers in this league. We talked about it a lot last week, as far as guys playing the slot and being able to also play in the deep half of the field, deep third. You know what I mean? He has that skill set. He helps you match up when you have all these move tight ends and tight ends, or rather receivers masquerading as tight ends. He's the type of player who can match up, and then he can go and cover a receiver, as you mentioned, like Jonathan Mingo, who I really like. Excited to see him in Mobile. So I really do think his stock is going to take off, and assuming he tests well, he's gonna go higher than a lot of people think. Drew, what about you? I know you want to talk about Young.
Yeah, let me talk about Henry To'oTo'o real quick. I don't know if I said it right. I'm pretty sure I did. Thank you very much. Linebacker number 10 for Alabama. I think he played a really good game. And I know last year against Ole Miss, it was kind of rinse and repeat for him in terms of him getting to the football. I mean, he was getting to plays before they even kind of happened. And we know watching him, that's kind of how he's going to have to play. He's not going to be a guy going to be able to stack and shed and do all of that. He's going to have to beat his guy or slip under the block to win. And he was doing that, as well as in coverage. He's really good in coverage. So he played very, very well in this game. And then just in terms of Byron Young, bruh, that dude dominated, bro. Inside, outside, didn't matter where Bama lined him up. He was batting down passes. He was rushing the quarterback, hurrying the quarterback, and sacks on the quarterback. He was part of the reason why Jackson Dart was frustrated, flustered, and didn't play the game that he normally would play, man. That dude was all over the place. And I think he can play in any scheme. I think it would be best for him to play in a 4-3 where you can have him inside on rundowns and on pass downs, throw him outside. Or maybe it's vice versa. You know, maybe that's how teams will see him. But he's going to be a outstanding addition. Heavy hands, quick off the snap. You know, he's able to extend, keep offensive linemen's hands off his chest, bro. Bro, woo, that boy was nice, bro. He was not like number 47 again, bro. He was dominant all over the place. They couldn't block him. Didn't matter. Guard, center, tackle, bro. It was a beautiful thing. And it's nice when you haven't really watched the guy all season. And I watched him last season. I had the notes, bro. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, all right, let me go in here and get in here and see if he's the same guy I remember from last year. Same guy. Nothing's changed, bro. Not a damn thing's changed for him. So.
And then you think he's like a day 2 pick? You think he's a day 2 pick? Second, third round?
I think he's a second round pick. I think his combine will be huge for him. I think his pro day will be huge for him. Could he slip into the first round? It's possible. I know he doesn't have the production, but if you watch his tape, man, Bama, man, they have a lot of guys where they don't have one guy that's just completely dominant. It's kind of a team-oriented thing in terms of their front seven, front four. So, he's just doing what's being asked of him. But I think he has the potential to be like a household name when you talk about pass rushers in the league, really. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about Maryland and Penn State.
No, a little bit. We could talk a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. I want to, as far as Maryland's concerned, the emphasis is on Jalen Duncan. We dropped our preliminary top 5 offensive tackles. Had some questions about Duncan being in the top 5. You guys' respective top 5. Some functional strength concerns. Obviously, he moves very well. There's not a whole lot of guys who move the way he does. So the thought process, I would imagine, I'll let you guys really, expand on it, is that the areas where he needs work, he can improve upon. It can be corrected, right? You know what I mean? There's certain things about him from a traits perspective that you just simply can't teach. So how did he fare in this particular game? And what do you think about the rest of Penn State's prospects in this contest?
Yeah, the snaps that I seen, bro. And I sent it to y'all in the thing in the messenger. I said, bro, he out here getting moved like furniture, bro. It was moving day. It wasn't good. He's getting blown up in the backfield, getting pushed back into the quarterback. On backside blocks, he was struggling, and that's something I think he could do very well, man. Because it's just moving your feet. I don't know if he's injured and they're not really saying anything, but he looked bad, man. He wasn't getting his punch out. It wasn't a good game, and I know it was a comment when we had the we posted our top 5 and the commenter, I forget his name and I apologize, but he called it. He said he be getting too high, man. He be getting too high, and when you got functional strength issues and you getting high, bro, put a fork in you, bro. But what I said in my notes is if he gets his hand on and everything is right, it's a wrap. And I think when teams look at it, say, I can fix him getting high. We can fix that. You know what I'm saying? I can fix him getting his punch out. It's the technical things that coaches are going to look at and say, he has all the physical tools. I can fix all the technical stuff. And he can be a plug and play player immediately. Because I think how teams and offensive lines and OCs are going to see him. And I think that's why he's so high on a lot of people's boards. And some people are saying he could be first offensive tackle off the board. And I understand it. Because if you can fix these small little things, bro, it's and if you're a coach and you feel you can fix those and everything else is right, you know what I'm saying? What else is there to talk about?
I think obviously someone's going to feel like they can mold that clay, right? Like I said, that there's traits that he possesses that you can't teach, whereas the concerns are things that can be developed. You know what I mean? I think that's really the baseline associated with it. Headley, your thoughts on Duncan? You were kind of early to the party as far as Duncan being a potential first round pick before the season even started. Is this a case of just a bad game, or is this something that's showing up on a regular basis?
No, I think it's showing up. I think it's showing up pretty often. When I watched the tape last year, I thought he was, really good, dominant. But the more and more I watch him this year, you kind of see those things that people are talking about. The inconsistency, he's high, his hands are wide a lot. The technical part of his game. Also, functional strength. I think sometimes, he handles it. His base anchor is good, but sometimes it's not. I think it's all technique for him. And like you guys said earlier, if we could fix that part of his game, then he's a talent, man, because how well he moves, he gets to his spots before other players. He has a power punch. So, it's going to be that line. And offensive tackle is a position where, typically I'm like, I want to see the talent over the potential for sure. I want to see every day in and out. You're technical. You got to be there because it's hard to teach offensive alignment at the next level to improve that much because the potential could be there. We've seen a lot of guys throughout the years where, high ceiling has the potential and never panned out and never got to that second contract at the NFL level. So, Jalen Duncan, he had got a lot to fix with him. We're going to see him at the Senior Bowl. So maybe there he can start getting that coaching, fix some of that technique issues and have a strong week and catapult that into the NFL draft. But it's there, man. I'm seeing it. So everyone that was killing us, I understand the kill because you see it, man. You see the issues that he has in his game.
We often talk about how it's so important for the quarterback, their landing spot, right? The organization, the coaching that a quarterback gets, and then ultimately the supporting cast that could make or break a particular quarterback prospect coming into the NFL. It could be all the difference. The guy could have all this talent, all this prodigious arm strength and the ability to extend plays and create off schedule and so on and so forth. But ultimately, it's very important in terms of where they ultimately land and the coaching that they get. I think that maybe not necessarily quite at the same level, but certainly enough to make a difference when it comes to the offensive line play, including the offensive tackles. Willie Anderson is a great follow on Twitter. Former right tackle he had a long-standing career with the Cincinnati Bengals, and he talked about it. He said, in the NFL, you're taught where to be, or rather who to block, not how to block. Right? Not how to get in your set, not how to get to your landmark, not how to make sure that you get your striking and that you're pinpoint in terms of where your hands are, keeping them inside the frame. Like there's less of that. Now there are coaches, there are offensive line coaches and coordinators who obviously know what it looks like and can help those guys develop. But it isn't the same with every organization. So for Jalen Duncan, it really could come down to that, right? Ultimately, where does he land? Who gets a hold of him, and is he going to get the requisite coaching in terms of how to as opposed to who to, if that makes any sense. So really interesting stuff. I think it's going to be an ongoing conversation with Jalen Duncan. Really thank that individual for highlighting that as part of our top 5 preliminary rankings of the offensive tackles, because like I said, this is kind of an ongoing situation, or rather what you said, Headley, this is an ongoing concern associated with Jalen Duncan, the offensive tackle for Maryland. On the other side of the ball, Penn State, who stood out, who played well. Obviously, the defensive line got after Maryland a bit here. What were your guys' thoughts?
So, let me see here. PJ Mustipher. I always struggle with his name. I continue to struggle with his name. Mustipher. See, I like Mustipher, but I got to call him by his right name. Mustipher. I thought he played well, applied pressure. And the guy that I'm going to continue to watch over and over And I hope he ends up at the Senior Bowl. I don't think I've seen his name yet. Is Jair Brown, number 16 safety for Penn State. I thought he played well as well.
Thought you had it.
I think the guys that I was looking forward to seeing, they didn't really make a big impact in this game. Parker Washington is a prospect, the wide receiver. Also, defensive side of the ball, Joey Porter Jr. I'm not even sure if did he play. I don't even see him on the box score, but he's a guy that's a first round pick as well. So those are the guys that I'm kind of keying in on. Penn State got a lot of ballers that's not draft eligible. They had those running backs, Singleton and stuff like that. We're going to be speaking about them a lot in the future, but Washington and Porter, those are the two guys I like at Penn State.
All right. Let's go out to the Pac-12. Big upset here. Washington visiting Oregon. Of course, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix. The topic of conversation in draft circles this week, considering where they might land, particularly when you have the likes of Will Levis struggling, concerns in terms of the system that Hendon Hooker's playing in. I wouldn't suggest that you wouldn't necessarily have those question marks associated with Penix Jr. or Bo Nix, but certainly the offense that they're running in Tennessee, Josh Heupel, is very unique, very college-like, despite the proliferation of spread offenses at the NFL level. That being said, those two quarterbacks, they acquitted themselves well. Penix Jr., he has a hose, man. He has a howitzer of an arm. There's some throws that he made that were really, really impressive. Bo Nix has played lights out since the UGA game, and he's gaining traction. He has a little bit of a hive behind him now. So let's talk about the quarterbacks, and let's talk about some of the other prospects in this particular game. I'll start with you, Headley.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. I think this was a statement game for him. He's entered into my top 5 quarterback in the class. I know Drew has some hesitation about that, some reservations maybe, but from what I saw against him, man, he dominated Oregon with his arm. I'm just gonna read off my notes, man. I wrote so much notes, and when you look at your notes and you see a lot of notes, it's a guy that you really like, man.
Yeah.
So he throws a nice catchable football with anticipation. I think he has the athleticism to elude pass rushers, gain yardage on the ground. The big knock right now is the ACL injuries that he recovered from. That's the injury concern. That's what teams at the next level are going to look at in the draft process. But he gets the ball out quickly on a rope. Also, I hate to make the lefty comparisons, but Tua, he looks a lot like Tua out there, and we see what Tua can be when he has those weapons around him. So if you put Michael Penix Jr. in the NFL offense with receivers like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and an offense, built for him, I think he could blow up at the next level. He has the ability to look off defenders, snap his head, throw a dart in his next progression. Velocity and accuracy on throws allows him to hit weapons in tight windows. And he can stand in the pocket. He's very patient. I think he checks a lot of boxes. It's just that injury concern that the NFL teams are going to be looking at. But for me, he checks a lot of boxes. And then Bo Nix, the other quarterback, he's a gamer, man. He just does what it takes, to gain that extra yardage. He uses his legs. He's just a gamer, and he's improved his draft stock this season along the way.
Drew, I know Bo Nix is your guy. Yeah. I'm going to get to Jacob Smith's question, but Drew, I know you've been kind of banging the drum for Bo Nix. Here's your opportunity. Get in there.
Big Bo.
Yeah, Big Bo. Juice was hating on him earlier in the season. Didn't want to talk about him. You know what I'm saying? Didn't want to be in the conversation with the quarterbacks. And he's pretty much carried Oregon since. And the one thing about Oregon is they are balanced.
Wait.
Gotta defend yourself.
He has played incredibly well this season, but
they're not where they are without him, bro.
Sure.
Right.
But it's not a one-man offense.
No. I don't mean it like that. I just meant it like without him, they're not where they're not at the top of the Pac-12 up there with USC, right?
Right.
But this is a guy who he's very good at creating. You know what I'm saying, in terms of plays when they're not there. You kind of want that this day and age when you're talking about the quarterback position. He can do that. He has a strong arm. It's not that of Penix. I don't think there's anybody in the country that got an arm like him as far as I know that I've seen. But Nix is listen. He's come a long way, bro. The guys come a long way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you transfer, and most of the time when you do transfer as a quarterback, it doesn't really work out. And he went somewhere where the coordinator that was there, he knew him. He knew the offense, and he's running the show there, man. So I'm gonna continue to watch him. I'm not saying he's not gonna be one of the top 5, or may not even be in the top. Well, he might end up being in the top 10, definitely, because people are pushing him now. People are studying him now, and his name is out there because people were waiting. They've been waiting on him, man. You know what I'm saying? He's got it all in terms of the traits you want from the position. It's just that, in between the ears, can he be consistent, and can he not turn the football over? Because it's always kind of one of those guys. It's kind of, you're just kind of waiting. I'm just waiting for it to happen. When things don't go the right way, and you want to make a play. He actually hasn't turned the ball over when those things have happened. So, he's kind of looking like he kind of turning the corner on that, man. You know what I'm saying? He might, right now. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna leave it there.
He has absolutely helped himself, and I think the main question now is the finer points of the position, right? So right now the guy's open. He's delivering the football. He can make all the throws. Obviously, he can use his athleticism in need. The progressions, working through the progressions, is an area that he still can improve upon, right? That hasn't necessarily come all the way. He's not getting from his first to his third read on a consistent basis, but it's all heading in the right direction for Bo Nix. Jacob Smith had a question you alluded to. Do you think Penix Jr. injury history can hurt him as far as the draft goes? And Headley, you alluded to it. Yes. I think once the medicals are done at the combine and those team physicians get a hold of him, there will be certain teams that ultimately say, you know what, it's not worth it. But of course, there's 32 teams. There are going to be plenty of teams that say, hey, listen, he's not a receiver. He's not a running back. Yeah, he's functional in terms of his ability to move. Perhaps not what he was when he was in Indiana. You mentioned that Bo Nix is a transfer, Penix is a transfer, and it's really worked out well in this case for both players. But the short answer to your question is that yes, certain teams will take him off their board or reduce his draft stock, while others won't be bothered by it. All right. And Jacob actually had a follow-up question here. Do you see being a lefty as a negative?
I think some people might, because the ball, it just spins differently. Receivers aren't used to catching it. But I don't think so. I think if you could throw it, you could throw it. And let me clarify something I said about relating him to Tua, another left-handed quarterback. It's the ball placement, it's the accuracy that reminds me of Tua, but the arm strength is way above Tua.
Yeah, Penix
the laser. You seen the throw opposite hash laser on the sideline?
Yeah, that play was so impressive because not only was it opposite hash, it was about 30 yards, 30 yards downfield, right? And the safety that couldn't make the play was already outside the hash. It wasn't as if he was in the middle of the field and he couldn't get there. He was already outside the hash, and the ball got there so quickly that he couldn't make a play on the football. To me, to this point, and we've seen some great throws, pinpoint throws throughout this season. Jaron Hall, Bryce Young, they've made some, and the hooker, some dots. But that was the most impressive throw I've seen thus far.
Would you Geno Smith arm?
Geno throws a pretty ball, man.
Yeah.
Geno always had the arm talent. There was never a question about the arm talent with Geno. Yeah, I can't remember. It's been a while. Can't remember exactly how strong Geno. I know Geno has a strong arm, but I don't know that it's Penix Jr. strong. I'm not sure. Because there's some frozen ropes, and Geno can spin it. I don't want to take anything away from Geno, so that might be a pretty good comp there. Let's talk about some of the other players in this particular game. There's a lot of prospects on either side.
It's a lot, especially the defensive side, man. It's ballers on both sides of the defense. Braylon Trice and Zion. Was it Tuapola?
We just call him ZTF.
We call him ZTF.
Drew don't even try. Drew don't even try.
Nope.
Those guys, I like both of them as pass rushers. I think Trice is more the physical guy. He's more consistent. He gets to the backfield, a lot of speed to power. And ZTF he's just nice, man. The agility, the movement off of injuries. You know, he had those knee injuries as well, and he could elude blockers just by mere agility, sidestep. So he's nice as well. And then on Oregon side of the defense, you got Christian Gonzalez, cornerback 1 right there, and you got Brandon Dorless, baller. I think he's going to be a fast riser in this class. And Noah Sewell, the linebacker, I think he might be the best cover linebacker in this class. He reminds me a lot of Aaron Kendricks. I don't think he comes downhill like Kendricks, but as far as cover ability, he kind of looks like him.
I like it.
Also, you got a receiver that Michael Penix Jr. was throwing to. I think it's and y'all can hit me down in the comment section with the phonetics. Rome Odunze. I don't know. I listen.
Let's call him Rome, man. Let's call him Rome.
Rome. All right.
How you go, Rome?
I don't know. I was trying to be. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes names
might be Rome. It might be Rome.
I don't know, bro.
It might be Rome.
We'll call him Rome. Number 1 for Washington, the wide receiver.
Listen. Next week, get the pronunciation, bro.
Nah, bro.
Like I get some of the names. I get some of them that they're tough.
I didn't want to say Rome because it's so simple, and y'all be like, nah, bro, it's Rome. Like, damn, bro, there's no accent on that boy. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I'd just take the bull by the horn and just say it, bro. But
no, he looks good.
He's 6'3", 201, big body, strong, physical, willing to go up and get the football, and he's about that life. As you know, I like players like that, and he's good hands, bro. And you know, when you got a guy throwing the ball with heat, such as Penix does, you got to be able to catch that ball. So, yeah.
Yeah, your boy, is it Forsyth? Forsyth?
Oh,
center, yeah, Alex Forsyth.
Yeah, he was playing. He was battling. He was hurt, and he stayed in there. He was battling up front with Washington's down line. So definitely want to call him out. He's a good football player. I just want to circle back to Dorless before we move on. Headley, yeah, especially, yeah, I see it. I rewatched this one and I focused on him because, of course, you know, the guy that kind of got a lot of the love is DJ Johnson, who's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player, but Dorless is a man, bro. Plus the versatility that he has. And there's a movement. There's a movement back to stronger, bigger down linemen, right? Considering that NFL teams, it's cyclical. They're running more power concepts downhill. They're using fullbacks more. You know, all of this nickel defense, I think we're going to see a little bit of a shift back to 3 linebackers, you know, in terms of teams with a 4-man front. But Dorless can play inside, outside, like you've said previously, Headley. I think his draft stock is going to shoot up quite a bit as well. So let's move on to a Big 12 contest that was very lopsided. I just want to touch on a handful of prospects from this contest. At Kansas State at Baylor, it was all Kansas State. Siaka Ika, I just mentioned how those big space eaters, guys that can 2-gap effectively and control things at the point of attack, are going to be in higher demand than they've been in recent years. Over the last 10 to 12 years, we've seen very good football players who are more 2-down in nature fall to day 3, right? And be selected later in the draft. Their overall utility considered not as valuable because they don't necessarily offer a ton as far as pass rush is concerned. Not saying that Ika doesn't give you a little something there, but his job obviously is to occupy space, allow linebackers to make plays. Of course, he makes his fair share of plays as well. Felix Nduke-Uzama, edge from Kansas State, very good player. And then of course Deuce Vaughn. You know, we've compared him to Eckler. That's our comp for him. And you know, he continues to make plays, even though he didn't necessarily have the biggest rushing totals, or when he doesn't have the biggest rushing totals, he makes a difference in the passing game. So a few prospects there. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody in that particular game?
Kansas State, Deuce Vaughn. Yeah, I watched this game. I just want to talk more about Deuce Vaughn just a little bit, man.
Let's do it.
He is something else, bro, because when you look at the size, 5'6", 176, it doesn't make sense. You see that he's short, but how he plays the game and how he runs, he doesn't look like he's 176. He runs like a 200-pound guy. He's twitchy. In this game, I was watching it. He was like, okay, we're just going to go to him. Either we're going to hand the ball off to him. I think Adrian Martinez got hurt. Either we're going to hand the ball off to him or we're going to throw him the ball. I see them line up outside at receiver. They had a formation. They had 3 receivers in front of him. They cleared it out. They dumped it down to him, and when he has the ball in his hands, he's shifty. He can make guys miss. Yeah, he's going to be a terrific player at the next level. And Siaki Ika, I had my eyes on him because he was going against Cooper Beebe, another prospect in this game. He didn't line up over Beebe. He lines up over the center, but Beebe got some touches on him. And Ika, I liked him a lot coming in. Against the run, they kind of hemmed him up in the run game a little bit to me in this game. I know Kansas State has a terrific offensive line, so I was watching that, and he did penetrate the quarterback a little bit. He uses his hands. He's got a lot of power. I made the Vida VA comp because of the size and athleticism, but he's nowhere near Vida VA as a prospect.
Okay, fair enough. TCU at Texas, Drew. Who'd you like in this one?
I didn't watch much of this, bro, because I was watching the Oregon Washington game, bro. I got hooked, bro, and every time I turn it over to Texas TCU, bro, TCU got the football. And I'm like, I want to see some Texas, bro. So I'm going back to the other game. You know what I'm saying? And real quick though, the one thing I can say about this game, and I can say in general, is TCU starts slow, bro. It's just what they do. It's how they operate, and they kind of turn it on. They kind of wear you down. And then they introduce this guy. I think he's number 30. Is it 31, 33?
33.
33?
Miller.
Kendre Miller. They introduced him. There you go. Yeah, Jacoby Smith got it. They introduced him.
That's Jacoby.
And he hit his head on the goalpost.
Jacob.
That's what I said. Jacob.
Jacoby.
Oh, did
I call it Jacoby, bro?
Oh, I know a Jacoby. My bad, bro. I do. I know a Jacoby. I'm really sorry, bro. My bad. Let me show you some love, bro. I'm gonna hit you down in the comment section. Go ahead,
no, we talked about Kendrick Miller about 3 weeks ago, right? About 3 weeks ago. So hit the like button. Yeah. You give him any space, any daylight, he's out. He's out the gate. You know what I mean? Like you can't take any plays off against this guy. Headley, you say you were all into this one, and I know the defense stood out. This was a low scoring affair too. Who showed out for you?
On TCU side of the ball, that front seven, they were just shooting gap. They were like, hey, Bijan, Roshan, all the Shawns, y'all are not going to beat me this game, man. We're going to stuff the box. And Jamil Hodges, I keep talking about this guy. No one's talking about this guy, but is it Jamil Hodges? No, I said the wrong name, man. Hodge. Something Jay Hodge. It's Hodge and D Winters. I said they got a lot. They got Hodges Thomason. They got Hodge. They got another Hodges.
They do. It's a lot of Hodges.
But him and D Winters. Those are two good linebackers against the run. Compare D Winters to a Nakobe Dean, a little undersized, but just the instincts he plays with. And I thought the two corners, THT, Tre'Davious Hodges Thomason. Yeah, I'm just going to go with THT from now on. And number 24, I think his name is Newton. They were sticky out there, man. They were locking him down. Josh Newton. Texas couldn't really do anything on offense. But on the other side of the ball, Texas defense was balling too. The defensive line, you got Coburn out there. Number 88 was flashing. And number 98, Momo, I think his name is Momo. He was balling also. So I thought Texas front stood out, and TCU's entire defense, I think, stood out in this game, shutting down Bijan Robinson.
Was it Johnny Hodges or J-Mo Hodge?
Nah, not him. It's Hodge. It's Hodge.
I think it's J-Mo. I think that's how you say it. J-Mo Hodge.
Okay.
So there's a Johnny Hodges.
Uh-huh.
Nah, it's not Hodges.
You sure?
Nah, it's Hodge.
Okay. So it's Jamoy. It's Jamoy.
Jamoy
Hodge.
Jamoy
Hodge.
Jamoy. See? There you go.
There you go.
Got it.
You rattled off some numbers there, Headley, on Texas. We'll have to get our audience the name.
I got it, bro. I got you, bro. It's a lot of names, bro. All right, I got you. You said 88. We got there. It's your boy Sorrel.
Yeah.
Sorrel. I don't know if he's draft eligible, but he was all over the place.
Yeah. And 99 Coburn.
You know, in recent history, we haven't gotten a lot of great play in terms of the defenses in the Big 12. It's kind of been, a turnstile. You know what I'm saying? It's just been offense. And oftentimes it was hard to watch. But this year, from start to finish, I think they've been playing a lot better football, a lot better defense in the Big 12 this year. So nice to see defense returning to the Big 12. What else we got here? We got North Carolina at Wake Forest.
Now, this is the one I watched.
So let's start with you, Drew.
All right, man. We got Josh Downs, number 11, the star of the show. He just continues to produce every week. The production is off the damn charts. He was a guy that I was thinking coming into the season. Mm-hmm. Can he play outside? If he's challenged, what will he do in terms of what will that release package look like if he's pressed? Wake Forest said, hey, we heard you, Drew. We're going to press him. And it didn't work out well. That dude's savvy, bro. You see, I know he's quick. I know he's fast. I know he's twitchy. But he didn't do it with none of that, bro. He did it with some savviness, man. It was smoke and mirrors out there, man. He had the guy line up over him, man. He took about 3 steps, turned to the side like he was gonna block him, hit him with the and then just exploded. Caught the touchdown pass, bro. And he did it twice, and on 2 different plays. Being pressed. You have Anton Green. Did I say that right, bro? Did I say his name right? Number 3, Antoine. The wide receiver.
There you go.
He's struggling for the past couple of weeks. He did make a big play down the field, and that's kind of his thing, is to get down the field, make big plays down the field. But he dropped a couple of passes the week before, and he ended up getting hurt. You have A.T. Perry, and that's one of Headley's favorites in terms of the receiver position for Wake Forest. Big dude who plays small in a good way. And you also have Sam Hartman, who's been struggling for the past couple of weeks. I think his offensive line isn't what it was. I think they got a couple of injuries going up front. He threw the pick to end the game. He didn't see the safety. Safety actually played the play pretty well. Watching him, man, I know we talked about it before in terms of his arm strength. He'd be out there it's floaty, bro. Them deep balls be floaty, man, and you can get away with it sometimes, but sometimes you can't, man. And I need them things to come with a little bit more fire, man, and it's just not really there.
You got anybody in this particular game outside of A.T. Perry of note?
Yeah, I like this guy, Kobe Turner, defensive tackle, Wake Forest, very active and quick hands. He's more of he's a 3-tech penetrator just because of his movements, his quickness. It's too much interior offensive lineman, but they kind of use him everywhere, the 4, the 5, the 0. I just want to see him play 3 technique a whole game to utilize his skill set because, his motor to chase out of plays, his swim move, the rip, he could shed blocks. He's really twitchy, and he could wreck a football game. So I think Kobe Turner is probably maybe a day 2 guy, but I think he's going to be one of those guys that we see at the next level making plays.
All right. I just want to go to you real quick on Florida State, Syracuse. This was all Florida State, but we were really interested in the matchup between Jared Verse, the transfer, the edge from Albany, and Matt Bergeron, who, if I'm not mistaken, is at least in one of your respective top 5s. It might be in both of your top 5s, but not sure.
He ain't in mine. He's not in mine.
He's in Drew. What do you think about this particular matchup? How did Bergeron fare against Verse?
All right, so I'm looking at Bergeron because I seen him struggle against Falsky, seen him struggle against Murphy. I'm like, maybe the length and
Notre Dame, Clemson.
The strength.
Notre Dame, Clemson.
Yeah, the length and strength. Maybe it was too much for him. Let's see him against a quicker pass rusher. The first play of the game, I see Verse, man, threw him back into the quarterback, had his hands on the quarterback. The quarterback got the ball off, so it wasn't a sack. But Bergeron is struggling, man. He's been struggling. He started pretty good, but once he's playing these upper echelon pass rushers, I think he's struggling. He's definitely not in my top 5. I don't think he's in my top 8. He might be like 10 or 11 right now for me.
Oof.
That's your guy, Drew. You sticking with him?
Drew, you on mute.
I know, bro. Let's go to UCLA, Arizona.
Let's go out west. Let's go out west.
Okay, let's do it.
Nah, I didn't see the play, bro. You don't watch FSU, bro. Nobody watching them, bro.
Come on,
bro.
How you gonna scout the players if you don't watch FSU?
Later,
man?
Bro. I'll let Headley. He can write those notes, bro. He can take care of that. I'm good. No. So I just got one guy to talk about, man, because listen, Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, that's the guy,
bruh. This guy, bro. You know how I talk about small feet, bro? The ability to make people miss in small spaces, to be able to cut on a dime, to be able to avoid and evade tacklers, bro. He was doing that all over this game, bro. I think it was the first or second run of the game, bro. He did that. Like, bro, he's gonna have to be in my top 5 running backs. He's gonna have to be. Somebody has to leave. Somebody's gonna have to part, and I'm gonna have to slide him in, man. He can catch out the backfield. He can block, because I know you was asking about it. He can do it. I think this guy can do it all, man. And for people who don't know, he's actually from Michigan. He transferred from Michigan, if that means anything, right? Because I know sometimes, school matters to people. And if UCLA doesn't have him, I'm not sure we're talking about UCLA at all, bro. Jake Bobo did his thing. Number 9, the 6'8" receiver. I think he's like 6'5" receiver. He actually moves well for a bigger guy. Able to get off the line. He can take on the press coverage because he is a bigger guy. And then who else? Headley's guy. Thule. I thought he played well.
No, you're talking about Latu.
Latu. Yeah,
Latu.
Number 15, who's not on the depth chart for whatever reason. I thought he played well. And my man Jacob Cowing, he does what Cowing does, which is get yardage, make people miss, and dominates at the wide receiver position.
Big upset here by Arizona. Headley, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I echo Charbonnet. Like I said, when I saw him last year, I'm like, he's decent. And the more and more you watch him, you just see the special talent that he has, because he's big, but he runs like he's small because he's so quick. But then he runs again like he's big because he's so powerful, and he runs through contact. And it's like, what are you? Are you big or small? Like, you're doing traits of both kind of, big and small running backs. I compared him to Nick Chubb earlier. I know, Drew, you had a comp, but you said that he's just way quicker.
I want to pull it back because of his feet, bro. Yeah, because of his feet. I think I can't put him. He different. So I got to pull that back. But yeah, he like you said, he has the combination to do both. He can be the quick, fast guy, and he can run through you, run you over. Power.
All right. That's going to do it for our review of the prospects from the last week in college football. Before we look ahead, a couple things I want to touch on. Let's work through our honorable mentions. Real quick, and then I want to spend a little time talking about Will Levis. So, Hadley, your honorable mentions.
I got Mayan Williams, balled again. I'm going to talk about him every week until, people start talking about him more, because whenever Henderson doesn't play or he doesn't get as much carries, Mayan, he does just fine. He's a big bowling ball type runner. Man, every time I think of running backs like this, I think Frank Gore, the U. I think about the U, because Frank Gore is just like that. He's just not the fastest, not the biggest, but he's just very effective on how he runs the football. And the next guy I had is Kobe Turner. I already spoke about him before, but guys, watch him, because he's very disruptive. I think he's kind of used wrong sometimes. I don't think he's used to his strengths, a little out of place, but that's a 3 technique. I can see him striving at the next level.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue to talk about my guy, Tuli Tuipulotu. Number 49, edge for USC. I think it's their best player. This man has 4.5 sacks in the past 2 weeks. I know he hasn't played, the strongest of opponent, but he's dominated. And I'm gonna keep saying it. His ability to not get touched, or to avoid, to get narrow, to get thin, to get small, and be able to get around the offensive line, it's incredible. He's got. I want to see a little bit more speed to power. If he can convert that speed to power, bro. I know there's a lot of pass rushers, bro. I know there's a lot, but I got to throw him in there, man. I think this is the type of guy that when he goes to the combine, he's going to surprise a lot of people, and he's going to be one of those guys. There's every year there's 5-6 guys go to the combine, and now they're the new thing, and now everybody's going back looking at the tape and they're saying, how did we miss this guy? And you know what? Teams are talking about him, and he's jumping up boards. And I think that's going to be this guy.
I hear you. Will Levis. Let's just have the conversation here for a minute. I believe Mel Kiper Jr. Shout out to Mel. Has him as his top quarterback. A number of different publications obviously have him as the top quarterback in the class. I simply do not see it. I want to give you guys an opportunity to weigh in on this. We've talked about it. Is he more Josh Allen or is he more Carson Wentz? The traits are in place. Of course, teams, they tend to scout traits, but as I mentioned earlier, I think coaching is going to be such a big part of the determination as to whether or not Will Levis can be successful at the NFL level. Now, what I'd like to see is more flashes, and he's going to have a big opportunity this week against Georgia, right? To show us what he is capable of, because at some point I have to see you raise the level of play. We understand that your roster is not outfitted with, upper echelon talent per se, right? But there's just too many warts, from a processing, from a ball security standpoint, from an accuracy standpoint at times. You cannot be that inept against Vandy. You know what I mean? It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You know what I mean? So I've said it before. I'll say it again. He strikes me more as Carson Wentz, but I'm not even seeing the playmaker that we get from Carson Wentz from time to time. You know what I mean? So what are you guys' thoughts on Will Levis? Where do you kind of have him, without being, specific per se, but in the pantheon, as we've talked about, quarterbacks like Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Hendon Hooker. Of course, you have the Bryce Youngs and the C.J. Strouds, even Anthony Richardson. And I say even Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson is going to go pretty high in this draft, considering his skill set. Where does Will Levis fit in here? Where does he factor in for you?
Second round pick. I think he has the I think he has the traits of a first round pick, but that's kind of where that lies.
I think I'm a proponent of, especially in this day and age. Not that I agree with it, but
right.
Traits will get you pushed up the board, right? He's I think second round picks tend not to be trait related picks. You might have a better player, that guy that has played more consistently, fall to the second round. I think traits are somebody's going to pull the trigger.
No. Mm-hmm. I'm saying for me, no, definitely. Sure. I think
I just wanted to clarify. I just want to make sure.
He's definitely going in the first round because somebody's going to fall in love with everything that he has. And to be honest with you, he's got some built-in excuses. I was looking at the numbers, bro. Last year, they gave up 16 sacks last year. 6 of those came in a bowl game, bro. If I'm not mistaken, if I did my math right. So when you talk about, I think that was the bowl game. I think a couple of guys didn't play, obviously. So, that was a foreshadowing of this year because they're at 34 right now and the season's not over, right? So you can talk about the offensive line. You can talk about him not having Chris Rodriguez for the first part of the season. You can talk about the receivers, the weapons. He doesn't have it. It's a bunch of young guys running around out there. So there are some built-in excuses, but when there were times for him to win the ball game, he really didn't. I mean, even in the Florida game where they were trying to give him the kudos, I mean, Florida's defense wasn't good, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what is Will Levis? The big thing was going into the season was, okay, what does he look like now? Now that he has to actually be the guy, that he is the guy. What does that look like? And it's terrible, bro. Vandy hasn't won in the SEC, hasn't won an SEC game in like 34 something. I think it was 34 straight games, and y'all gave up the booty.
Wow,
y'all gave it up. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, man. I feel bad for him because part of this is not on him. But man, if you could have just shown some, even if you guys don't win, if you show something, bro. Yes. We can give you the cap tip, you know what I'm saying? Right. But we can't even do that because you look bad. And so now, like, okay, and usually quarterbacks who get drafted high, what happens? They end up on bad teams. You're supposed to can he raise the level of play of the players around him? Not this year. Definitely not this year. So where does he fall? For me, he's a second round pick, maybe even a third round pick, but he's going to go higher than that because he's a quarterback and they're going to fall in love with the traits. And you know what I'm saying? He's going to jump out the gym. His combine's going to be fantastic. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the numbers,
Go ahead, Abby.
Yeah, I think Will Levis is probably one of the most polarizing prospects in this class. I think he's set up to someone's going to be extremely right about him or extremely wrong about him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be much in between. Mel Kiper is going to look like a genius or an idiot for having him as quarterback one. I see the same thing you guys see. I don't see him as a first round grade in our grading system. He'd probably be more round 2, round 3, but he's going to go in the first round. He's going to wear those shorts and that tight shirt at that combine. He's going to throw the ball all over the place. And GMs are going to fall in love with him and say, hey, we can fix him. Look at what Josh Allen was. Look at what Patrick Mahomes was. Justin Herbert. If you got the big arm, the physical traits, we're going to fix him. So we're going to see. But the production on the field is not there. And like Drew said, the offensive line is not good. The receivers is not good. He didn't have Rodriguez at the beginning of the year. So teams are going to say, hey, they're going to put all that into the pot, stir it all up, and say, hey, this guy's a top 10 pick, and we're going to select him here.
But before you jump back in, Drew, I just want to make mention of this. I agree with you. There are some mitigating factors that are impacting his play. There's no mistake about it. I think everybody who is objective about the prospect can see that, can recognize that. However, there comes a point where you cannot compound that issue, and that's what I'm seeing in Will Levis. Right? It's one thing. It's one thing if you got guys who can't separate, who can't catch the football, you can't block it up front, you don't have much of a running game, this, that, and the other. Of course, Chris Rodriguez is back, so there's some competent ball carrier there behind him. And Kentucky over the last several years, their strength has been the running game. There's no question about it in terms of being able to displace guys and move the football on the ground. But when you start to exacerbate your team's shortcomings, their challenges, then I can't give you that same pass. With Josh Allen, of course, he lost a lot of talent from one year to the next. We've seen that here with Will Levis, and of course, he's playing in the SEC. You got some of the best talent in the country playing on a weekly basis. But at some point, can I see the flash? I'm not even seeing the flashes. They're just too infrequent. You know what I mean? I understand the traits are there, but I'm not even seeing the flashes. So the question then becomes, again, what landing spot do you go into going into the NFL? Who is your quarterback coach? Who is your offensive coordinator? What is your situation? You know what I mean? And our team's going to be patient enough, right, to see you develop. Are they going to put the infrastructure in place, put the weapons around you to see you develop? You know what I mean? Because there has to be something I can sink my teeth into. So I give you Josh Allen, for example. Certainly raw. Obviously, all the traits you could think of, and I thought he really acquitted himself really well in Mobile. I think that's what really solidified things for Josh Allen. But they systematically got him the coaching that was necessary. You got Ken Dorsey as your quarterback coach, who's now his offensive coordinator. You have Brian Dable, who's doing wonders in New York right now. Excellent offensive coordinator. They made sure that they improved the offensive line. They traded and got Stephon Diggs, started putting weapons around him. And then you saw that light bulb go off. But even when he didn't have, in fact, he had a worse supporting cast than what Will Levis has, you still saw flashes. You still saw the athleticism come up. You still saw him carry the team from time to time. I'm not seeing that with Will Levis at all. You know what I mean? So that's my concern there. Yes, he's going to go first round. He certainly has the traits, but there has to be, even in those instances, there still has to be moments of brilliance, and I'm not seeing it. Go ahead, Drew.
So the other things I want to throw in the pot, as Headley call it, we call it a cauldron at this point, is he's had 2 offensive coordinators that have come from the league, so that's a bonus. And he is really good when he turns his back to defense, turns around, and is able to find the open guy. That's something that you think a lot of quarterbacks would struggle with coming out of college because everything's shotgun and no one's really turning their back, so they don't know what it looks like when they turn around. And so he's ahead of the game in that, and I think that's going to be a part of the process in terms of evaluating, well, he can do this, that, and the other. And so when you throw that all that in there and then you throw the traits on top of it, it's like, well, we can fix this. We put him against in front of a good offensive line, give him some weapons. I think everything kind of falls into place. Somebody's going to think that very thing when they draft him.
Yeah, I've seen some former NFL quarterbacks go a little cold water on the systems and the coaching that he's received as far as it preparing him for the next level. I agree with you. He does turn his back to the defense and allows you to hide that football and generate big plays off of play action. But I yes, you can find some things to hang on to really make you optimistic about Will Levis. But still, with all that being said, I'd like to see a little bit more brilliance from time to time. I know it's not going to come for 4 quarters at a time, considering some of the detracting elements of the situation that he's in. But from time to time, I need you to be the best player on the field from time to time. You know what I'm saying? That gives me the confidence that you could be the guy and that I can invest all these resources into you at the next level. That's it. That's it for my diatribe on Will Levis.
Hey, Juice.
What's up?
Hey, before we go on, I know we're gonna go on real quick because we skipped over that UCF Tulane game.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to show some love to some of the prospects in that game.
Absolutely.
For Tulane, you got Dorian Williams. He's headed to the Senior Bowl. This guy is very athletic. I think instinctively he's a little slow to diagnose. Athletic sideline to sideline guy. And then you have another linebacker, Nick Anderson. They put him at edge sometimes, but he has the instincts. He's only 5'11", 230. I don't think he's going to play the edge at the next level, but he's more instinctive than Dorian Williams. But Dorian Williams is probably the guy that NFL teams are going to covet because of the athleticism. And then the running back, Tyjair Spears from Tulane. This guy, he impressed me, man. Explosive. Once you get daylight, you go the distance. He runs a little high, but he's twitched up. He makes guys miss. Easy speed, can catch the football in the backfield. So he has a lot of traits that you like at the next level. And then on the UCF side, 2 receivers stood out to me: Javon Baker, Ryan O'Keefe. O'Keefe is more the jet sweep, the shifty, smaller receiver. Baker is the outside physical guy. And defensive side of the ball, Ricky Barber, number 5, defensive tackle. I thought he blew up the game the whole game. Very impressive, man. The D tackle from UCF.
Both those schools are actually playing really good football this season. Both are ranked in our top 25 going into that game, and then obviously coming out of it. It was a close contest too, 1-score game at the end there. Drew, your HBCU standouts.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the SWAC conference. I'm gonna go with Jackson State's Aubrey Miller Jr. And this guy had 17 tackles, bro, 9 solo to go along with a fumble recovery, 1 pass breakup, bro. Dominated. Then we also have from the MEAC.
Was he their Senior Bowl invite? Was he the Senior Bowl for Aubrey Miller?
I think the linebacker, right? It's a linebacker.
Yeah, he's a linebacker. Yeah.
You
might be right.
Yeah.
Showing that love, bro. Gotta show that love. And then you got Morgan State junior defensive back Jose Robinson.
Jose.
5'10", 200 pounds, junior. Set the tone, bro. Blocked a punt and picked off a pass, 26-yard TD touchdown.
All right. Let's jump into your preliminary rankings at the wide receiver position. So top 5 at the wideout position to date. This is subject to change, but to date, Drew and Headley's respective top 5. As always, we're going to start with whom. Let the cat out the bag. Let the cat out the bag.
False start, legal procedure.
Let the cat out the bag, but that's okay. Who just missed the cut?
I got Jalen Hyatt just missing the cut.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
You want me to go?
No, go ahead.
I had Jalen Hyatt. Yeah, there's a little delay, the live Zoom, but I got Jalen Hyatt. Some people have him high as wide receiver 2, but he's not in my top 5 just yet because while he does have the speed, Tennessee's offense is like, can he get another offense like that at the next level? We're gonna see. Also, Keyshawn Butte, wide receiver LSU, just missed my 5. He was probably number 1 coming in, but hasn't really produced. Not all his fault. And Jackson Smith and Jiba, another guy that was high on people's boards and hasn't really played that much. And when he does, it's a Marvin Harrison Jr. show over there. So he hasn't really produce like a lot of people thought he would come into the year.
Like, who's in your top 5? No Hyatt, no
Jackson. Like, what's going on?
Who's in your top 5? What about you, Drew?
I got the two of the same in terms of Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I also I forgot, man. Oh, Butte. Both of those. Butte hasn't showed up. Yeah, he just hasn't shown up unless he's playing Florida. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba, he hasn't shown up because he's been injured since the Notre Dame game. Brandon Jackson, the safety?
Brandon Joseph.
Joseph. Yeah, pretty much kind of ruined this man's season, man. That was one guy I really, really wanted to see because I wanted to see, can he play outside? Because obviously if he play outside, he can actually be the number one receiver, but we ain't seen it. So, and then also have Jacob Cowing, number 2, the wide receiver for Arizona.
All right. At number 5, Drew has Josh Downs of North Carolina, and Headley, you have Quentin Johnston, big receiver out of TCU. Start with you, Headley. What do you like about Johnson? Why is he number 5?
Yeah, some people are going to kill me for that because a lot of people have him as 1 or 2. It's a lot of guys. There was 4 other guys I like over him, but Quentin Johnston, the physical specimen, he can go up and get it. He tracks the football really well down the field. The reason I have him so low is just the route tree. I'm not sure he can run a complete route tree right now. And also, he has a lot of these concentration type drops. He catches the easy one. I mean, catches the hard one sometimes, misses the easy ones. I just want to see him clean up some of those drops at the next level. But, yeah, he's a guy, man. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of Mike Evans, especially after the catch.
That's an insult to Johnston, bro. But it is what it is. Josh Downs for me. I talked about him earlier.
Wait. What part of that was an insult to Johnston?
Bro, he's better after the catch than Mike Evans. What do you mean?
He just reminds me of it.
No, bro. No, he doesn't, bro. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, bro.
It's one thing in particular. When he catches the ball to the back to the defense and he turns his body, that's Mike Evans all day. Mike Evans has patented that move.
Okay, I was thinking like after he caught it
as a ball carrier.
As
a ball carrier.
Yeah, he's different.
I think Drew is saying that he's a superior player as a ball carrier.
Yes, Mike's yak is ugly, bro. He leaves a lot to be desired in terms of, you know what I'm saying, but he keeps himself safe, so I'll take it.
My responsibility is to stack DBs.
That's it, bro. Stack it. I might make one guy miss, and then I'll probably go down after that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Josh Downs, wide receiver for North Carolina. He is the baller for that team. He is the offense. This man's had 40 catches in the past 3 games. Something crazy like that. It might be more than that, to be honest with you. This is a guy he knows how to get open, man. He's savvy, he's shifty, he's quick, he's twitchy, he's fast. And, some of those guys like that are usually they're going to use their speed to kind of get open. Nah, man, he can do it. He can do it subtle. He can do it sudden. He can do it. It's just he's got a little stutter step, a little stop and go. He's got an entire package waiting for DBs and safeties and heaven forbid a linebacker. It's fun to watch him, man. He's dominating right now for UNC, and I think they won their side of the conference, by the way. FSU. What's going on?
Yeah, they locked it up.
Yeah, they locked it up.
They're not on our side.
I know.
They're on the easy side, the Miami side.
Come on, man. Number four, Cedric Tillman. You have Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee, and Headley has Rashee Rice from SMU.
Yeah, this is production, bro. The guy produces, and I know this year it's not as high as last year, but he balled last year, had over 1,200 yards or nearly 1,200 yards, and he probably would have had more than that this year with the offense they was doing and stuff Hendon Hooker was doing. He missed 4 or 5 games. He's a guy who can stack folks. He's a guy who can, he's got a little twitch, little speed to him, and I like him. I really, really like him on the perimeter though, on the outside.
Yeah, Rashee Rice. I know Drew gonna get into him in a little bit, but I'm kind of mad because I lost my notes on Rashee Rice. I'm gonna just let it out there, but from what I remember, man, it's just unfair. The competition he goes against. He plays on the outside, physical, yards after the catch, go up and get it. he just checks a lot of boxes, man. So and he's the go-to guy over there. So I like Rashee Rice at number 4.
All right. Next up, number 3, Drew has the aforementioned Quentin Johnston out of TCU, and of course, Headley has Josh Downs.
Yeah, we switched there.
Yeah.
Funny, bro. See how we got it? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston. We making up names, bro. I gotta make them up. TCU wide receiver. You know, this is a guy who can play both slot and on the outside. I know that TCU, you know, it took him a minute to get him started. I think he was coming off of injury. And once he got going, he got going. This is a guy, just get him the football. He's going to make things happen, whether it be behind the line of scrimmage, be beyond the line of scrimmage. Guy who can catch the deep ball. He dominated a dominant game against Oklahoma last year. I don't know if that's even like a plus. We know Oklahoma defense ain't been good in a minute. But he dominated in that game. And I mean, for the past about, you know, not this past week, but the past few weeks, you see what he is, man, and what he can be. And some people actually have him as wide receiver 1, and that may be recency bias. But I've been on this guy since, you know, last year watching the tape, man. And I think he has all the attributes that you want from a receiver because he is big, he is fast, he is strong. But like Headley said, one of the concerns you do have is him actually catching the football concentration drops. But I'll take that guy. I'll take that. It ain't he ain't got the yips and nothing like that. So, you know, just focus, man.
Just focus.
Yeah, Josh Downs. You know, Drew talked about him earlier, but he's a one-on-one nightmare. Quickness, suddenness. It's the route pace. It's. I don't know what he's gonna do. Is he going inside? Is he going outside? Is he going vertical? Is he going to the post? Is he going into the post corner? We don't know what he's gonna do. If you don't get hands on him, he's probably gonna get open. He's been a security blanket, the third down option for Drake May all season. He's dominant, man. And some people are going to say, well, he can't play on the outside. He's just going to dominate in the slot. And at the next level, that's where guys are dominating.
That's for sure. The game is being played inside out more than ever. At number 2, Drew has Jordan Addison out of USC, and Headley has Cedric Tillman all the way up at number 2. Start with you, Headley, since you're really high on Tillman.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. And it was before even the season started. I loved Tillman. I was kind of upset that he got hurt. And, you know, Jalen Hyatt took over. He held it down. But Tillman has always been the guy over there for Tennessee. It's just the physical outside. I love how he sells the deep routes, the comeback, the hitches. He's going to be a security blanket put at the next level on the outside where I need this play. Who's going to get open? And I think Cedric Tillman is the guy that's going to be always open because how physically he is at the top of his routes, how he creates that little bit of separation. It might not be seen as much on tape, but it's always right there for the quarterbacks. And I think a quarterback's going to trust him at the next level. And once he catches the ball, you know, he runs with physicality and he can gain some yak.
Yeah, Jordan Addison, a wide receiver out of USC. He's the transfer from Pittsburgh. He's also the Biletnikoff Winner Award of last year. That's i.e. wide receiver of the year. And you saw it this year. He ended up getting hurt. Was it Achilles or ankle or I forget what it was, but he got injured. But this guy's a baller, man, and I gotta respect him, man. I was trying to putting him down a little bit. I was like, man, I see him at Pittsburgh. You know, he's a guy who can turn bad balls into good balls. He's a guy you can throw the ball up to. He's not overly big or overly huge, but he will go up and get the football. But he's a guy who he can work in small spaces, man. Catch a pass, and he's dangerous in the open field, man. And you saw that at USC. Caleb Williams getting the ball to him consistently over and over. He was dominant for the first couple of weeks until he got injured. But yeah, man, that dude's the real deal, man.
All right, and your first ranked receivers, respectively, thus far. Preliminary rankings here for the 2023 NFL Draft at the receiver position. Drew, you have Rashee Rice out of SMU, and Headley, you have Jordan Addison, who is Drew's second-ranked receiver.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, bro. He's the whole package, bro.
That's your guy.
He's the whole package, bro. Big, strong, fast, can create separation, has some subtleness to his game. He understands, positioning in terms of the cornerback and where they're at and where he's supposed to be. He understands zones to get into the holes of the zones. If I need to shift over a little 2-3 feet to my left, I'm gonna do that. Show my number to the quarterback, and he has strong hands. I do got one concern that I saw. I'm gonna check the stats for him, but is just hold on to the football if he catches it, man, because that boy can run, bro. He can run, and he can make people miss in the open field. So,
yeah, the body control for Rashee Rice is really impressive,
and it's nice too. Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Headley.
Yeah, my concern about Rashee Rice is not really his fault. It's just the competition he's playing against. We've seen guys come into the league. I remember Corey Davis was one of those guys where he dominated his level of competition. The next level, he's still in the league. He's doing all right, but
Group of 5.
He's picked number 5, and was he like the number 5 pick in the draft?
Yeah, he was the 5th overall pick. Yeah,
so that's the only thing that concerns me about Rashee Rice. But the tape doesn't lie, and he puts up good numbers. My number 1, Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC. Last year, he was at Pittsburgh, and you saw him, the vertical. He ran a lot of vertical routes, a lot of, deep down the field routes. And I'm like, how is his route running, And what I see from USC this year, a lot of more route running, a lot more nuance, his release. I like his release at the next, when he comes off the line. Also, at the next level, NFL teams, they're going to find a way to get him off of the jam, because I think that's his biggest concern is, can he beat the jam? Can he beat the press? But this guy can play outside. He can come inside also. And I think an offensive coordinator is going to probably use him a lot just to free him up so he can get out in space. Because once he catches a football, he's hard to bring down. He can make guys miss. He gets that yak, and he's a big play guy.
All right. It's an interesting point there, Headley, regarding, the team, ultimately the team that drafts him, how they deploy him, right? So, of course, there may be a concern a little bit about how he deals with physical press coverage, but there are ways around that. There are methods. If you have a creative offensive coordinator, play caller, stack releases, motion, you're going to put your guys in position to be successful, because he does so many things well, even though he may have a weakness there as it pertains to beating the press at times. There are methods to mitigate that. So there you have it. That's Headley and Drew's preliminary top 5 receivers at the top 5 receivers for the 2023 NFL draft. In the spirit of the NFL draft, obviously that's the focus of the second half draft show, brought to you by Couch Potato General Manager. We have a mock draft, a light version of a mock draft, just the top 10 picks. But we wanted to start getting into it because you're going to see a lot of mock drafts here from the channel from here on out, from this point through the draft itself. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. And the nature of this mock draft is Drew is making the odd selections, if I'm not mistaken, and Headley's making the even selection. So at the top, Drew, you have Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama, going to the Houston Texans. Just tell me briefly a little bit about the player and then ultimately the fit.
I mean, he's quarterback 1, bro. What else is there to say, bro? There's a possibility he could win the Heisman. It's a guy who's playing on a team
he does have one already. He does have one.
Get another one. You know what I'm saying? Number 2. Mm-hmm. But he was a guy coming in that had all the accolades, and I couldn't dethrone him. And I still can't dethrone him, even though they've lost, 2 games now? Because them losing has nothing to do with him. Matter of fact, when I look at all the quarterbacks that we're going to scout or we've scouted or whatever, he's the one guy who's the constant. You know exactly what you're getting from Bryce Young. He's going to do his part as a quarterback. He's not going to turn the football over, and he's going to get the ball to the guys that he's supposed to get the ball to so they can make the plays. And I don't know what else you can ask for. And he's outstanding with extending plays, not looking to run unless he has to, but in terms of extending plays to get the ball down the field, square up the shoulders, and throw it to the open guy. It's just that this year he doesn't have quite those weapons, and it's unfortunate. That's Alabama. You would think they would have them, but they don't.
Yeah, I put that on Saban.
Yeah, no, definitely.
he had that run, right? He had that run. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs before obviously his legal concerns. I'm missing one of the guys.
Jerry Jeudy.
And then of course, previous to that, Amari Cooper, Julio Jones. You just kind of had consistently. You had these studs. They make the transfer. John Metchie's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong, but they get the transfer from Ohio State, Jamison Williams. And then this year, you just, I think some guys may have transferred out, and there's some young players who haven't necessarily gotten the opportunity or stepped up to this point. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of a letdown. Headley talked about the offensive line. Even that position group hasn't been as dominant as it's been in the past. So, but with that being said, Bryce Young has been terrific. There's no question about it. He has consistently raised the level of play, and he's the reason why Bama is competitive week in and week out. There's no question about it. All right. Moving on to the second pick in our top 10 here. Headley has the Las Vegas Raiders selecting defensive tackle Jalen Carter. Carter, effectively the best player in the draft overall.
Dominant.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think it's him, Will Anderson, Bryce Young. I think those three. If you want to throw a Bijan in there too, you can. But I think those four guys are probably the top talents in the class. But Jalen Carter, man, he's dominant. And the reason I went Carter over Will Anderson is the Raiders roster. They still got Max Crosby. They just brought in Chandler Jones this year. And I wanted to go to fix the offensive line. I thought it was a little too early here, talking about the talent that's in the class.
Sure.
And Jalen Carter is going to fill that middle up, be disruptive with Max Crosby. Just imagine him and Max Crosby lined up on the same side of the line, getting after the quarterback or the running back. It's going to be crazy over there if they get Jalen Carter. Yeah, I got him number 2 to Las Vegas.
So you riding with Derek Carr? That's what it looks like.
Yeah. That's another. Yeah, we talked about that pre-production. Should I get a quarterback here? But I guess Carr hasn't looked good. But this defense might be looking worse, man. They can't even tackle on the defensive side of the ball in Las Vegas.
All right, number 3. Drew goes with Jaren Hall. So the Panthers, obviously, another quarterback-needy team. They've tried. They've done the Sam Darnold experience at Baker Mayfield. We've got some P.J. Walker. They drafted Matt Corral. I imagine the new regime will like to go in a different direction. Perhaps a little bit of a curveball here, or a substantial curveball, a big 12-6 hook here. But Drew, you've been consistent. I'm talking about in terms of the masses. I'm sure they would expect a C.J. Stroud, maybe even an Anthony Richardson, right? Jaren Hall may come as a surprise to folks, but you've been very consistent in terms of your feeling with respect to this quarterback. What is it that you like about Jaren Hall over some of the other guys?
Ball placement. Doesn't turn the football over. He's playing in an offense where they want to run the football. But so he's going to turn his back to the defense. He's athletic. And he's kind of the head honcho there, man. I know he lost a couple of his receivers during the season, and they were still winning games despite those 2 receivers. And I think both of those guys are going to be guys we're going to be talking about here at some point during the draft season. And Romney and Romney and Puka. And I think Puka, real quick, I just want to throw it out there. I think he's likened to Cooper Kupp. So I'm just leave that right there. Take it for what you want. And the Panthers, bro, they need a quarterback. They got 16 on the roster, and you look at those and you just kind of Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, PJ Walker. Who else on there, bro? Like, I think we've seen enough, and this is a team who's, I don't know if they're going to keep their interim head coach here. I doubt it. They're probably going to go get the guy that they want, and that guy's going to draft his quarterback. And I didn't go Hendon Hooker. I didn't go CJ. I didn't go CJ Stroud because I think Jaren Hall's a better player. And I didn't go Hendon Hooker because I think part of his success big time is the system he's playing in. And I believe that Jaren Hall is going to be the quicker study. In terms of coming in and being able to be effective immediately and win football games immediately.
What's the one thing that places Jaren Hall over CJ Stroud in your eyes?
Ball placement. I like the system. One. Oh, my bad.
One.
Ball placement.
No, I won't say ball placement. I won't go there. I can go there, but I'm not gonna go there.
The legs.
I mean, I guess I could say he uses his legs. I'm trying to think of something I didn't say already. I'm trying to give you something I didn't say already with him, man.
Moving on to number 4.
I'm gonna get it in there, bro. I'm gonna get it in there.
The Eagles have the Saints pick, and of course the Saints aren't very good. The Eagles, the rich get richer, frankly, here with Will Anderson, the edge from Alabama.
It's ridiculous, bro.
Man, it just hurt me just putting him here because, like you said, the rich get richer. Josh Sweat has really been putting it on. They got Jordan Davis, Hargrave, ballers on the interior. Brandon Graham, Robert Quinn, they're older players, so I think Will Anderson will be a perfect fit. And oh my gosh, Will Anderson probably arguably the best player in the draft class, going to one of the best teams in football.
Yeah,
it's just embarrassment of riches over here, man. And yeah, best player on the board, Will Anderson.
All right, at number 5, do you have Christian Gonzalez, cornerback 1 out of Oregon, going to Jacksonville?
Yeah, this is a defense that I think is actually pretty good, and I think they just need on the outside to get better on the outside, and why not grab the best corner, long, strong, fast, play both inside and outside. You can probably do a couple different things with him if you wanted, but yeah, I think this. I mean, we could have gone offensive line here, could have gone defensive line as well, but I think cornerback is probably the way you want to go here to kind of shore up that defense.
All right. With the 6th pick, Headley, you have the Chicago Bears shoring up the offensive line with Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State.
Yeah. Offensive tackle number 1 here is CPGM. Paris Johnson, he made that move from guard to tackle flawlessly, effortlessly, and that's kind of how he plays, man. He just moves really well. The pass, the run game, he's dominant. And the Bears, you talk about a team that needs an offensive line help. I know they needed receivers as well. They should get that later in the draft, but we can't pass up Paris Johnson here at number 6.
Okay. Next up, with the 7th overall pick, this is the pick that they got in the Russell Wilson trade. We have Seattle selecting edge B.J. Ojulari. We've talked about Ojulari literally every week on the second half draft show. You have him slotting in here to give some more teeth to that pass rush in Seattle. Seattle obviously coming off a very strong draft class in 2022, and you get it started off on the right way here, Drew, with Ojulari in 2023.
Yeah, and he's a guy who can play in space too. If you want to do the outside linebacker thing, get cute as well in a 3-4, he can do that as well. But yeah, he's just consistent, man. Most explosive. Headley, you said he's the best pass rusher, right? Pure pass rusher. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I not? Yeah. Why would I not draft him for Seattle here, man? They last year they went offensive line, and it looks like that's working out well for them at the moment. They got their running back and Kenneth Walker looking good, and Geno Smith looks like he might be the guy for them. You know what I'm saying? They running on, they doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But they just need a little bit more pressure, a little bit more power off the edge. And I think B.J. Ojulari, Aziz's brother in New York, and who's the better player, by the way, B.J. is. They just need a little bit more power and juice off the edge, and B.J.'s gonna give him that.
Yeah, we could be looking at a Boye Mafe B.J. Ojulari tandem in 2023. I think that can be pretty explosive. You got guys like Poona Ford in the inside there, mixing it up. Yeah, it could be a really good young defensive line there in Seattle if they manage to get Ojulari. With the 8th overall pick, Headley, you have the Lions selecting Tyree Wilson, a guy that we've talked about quite a bit on this channel. Be sure to check out our standalone video at the Couch Potato General Manager YouTube channel on Tyree Wilson. There's some question marks here, but obviously there's a lot of raw ability and traits to really like here with this player. Why Wilson at 8, Headley?
Yeah, we're going to get some hate for this one right here because some people have Tyree Wilson as a second-round pick.
No, you're going to get some hate.
This guy,
Let's
man,
clear it up.
physicality. Yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm going to take it. I'll take it for the team. But the physicality, I know that there's some motor issues, but when he does show a good motor, he just gets into the backfield, the tackles for losses, gets to the quarterback, just physical. Detroit Lions, they need a lot of help. I'm rolling with Jared Goff again. Their offense is set to go. They just got to stay healthy with Jameson Williams, St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, the offensive line. Jared Goff. I like the offense. It's just the defensive side of the football. They got Aiden Hutchinson last year. I was thinking about putting Keelan Ringo here, but Jeff Okudah has been playing really well lately. I think he has bounced back from that. You know, some people thought he might have been a bust, but he's bounced back. So Tyree Wilson to go next to Aiden Hutchinson and wreak havoc on the quarterbacks, man. I like it.
So this is the Rams pick here, and I imagine the Lions, they'll be selecting in the top half of the first round with their own pick, so they can come back and get one of those corners. At this point, we only have one corner off the board, so we're talking about a Ringo. You got Joey Porter, Cam Smith. You got a number of really talented corners if you want to double down on the defense there and help out that back end. With the 9th overall pick, Drew, you have your guy, receiver 1, going to the Texans. Rashee Rice out of SMU. You talked about him previously. Now you pair him up with Bryce Young. And now you're cooking with something. You got Dameon Pierce in the backfield. You could probably add another back to the mix, considering how deep this class is a little bit later. Texans have, I think, 12 draft selections and maybe five or six in the first 3 rounds. So they're really going to be able to outfit this roster. And, you know, considering all of the turmoil and all of the, you know, angst coming out of the Deshaun Watson trade and that whole scenario, to be able to reset, you know, a year or 2 years out with a Bryce Young, and then you add a Rashee Rice as your alpha in that receiving room. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they have they got Brandon Cooks over there to pair with him, so that should be a nice little match there. And they got some other receivers in the room. They just don't have a guy that, you know, teams have to worry about or key on, and you always want that guy within your offense, if not 2 or 3 of those guys, and adding this guy would be a start to that, along with your young quarterback. All
right. And rounding out our mock draft light here with the top 10 picks, Headley, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers going with Olu Fashanu, really talented young offensive tackle from Penn State.
Hey, man, do the right thing, man. Pittsburgh. Do the right thing, man. The offensive line has been the weakness over the last couple of years, and they're not addressing the position. They kind of tried a little bit, but go get the guy, Olu Fashanu, the highest ceiling offensive tackle in this class, the movement ability, the power. He's only 19 years old. The sky's the limit for this guy. Protect your quarterback, Kenny Pickett. Get Najee Harris over 3.8 yards a carry. I don't know. He's not at 4. I know that. He's 3 point something. Let's get him over 4 yards per carry and draft Olu Fashanu.
All right, there you have it. A little mock draft for you guys out there. Let's look ahead to the Saturday slate. I want to start with Illinois at Michigan. Headley, who are you focused on in this game?
The running backs, Chase Brown and Blake Corum.
Is Brown going to be healthy? I'm not sure if Brown's going to be healthy in this one. I'm not sure. I know he had a little bit of an ankle situation, but certainly if he's playing, he is must-see TV. I agree with that.
You can also
Isaiah
look
Williams, Devon Witherspoon.
Yep.
All right, go Drew.
Oh, my bad. I jumped in now. I was just too quick. Also, Luke Shoemaker, the tight end, and you got Ronnie Bell out there as well. And you said Blake Corum. That's the Heisman guy everybody likes to talk about. So yeah.
Boston College at Notre Dame, Drew.
So you have I said his name earlier, Brandon Joseph, the safety. You have Michael Mayer. You got Jarrett Patterson, and then you also have, if he's still playing, because I know he'd be getting injured, is Phil Jurkovec, the quarterback, and then you also have Zay Flowers, number 4, the wide receiver. Oh, he was also outside of my top 5 wide receivers as well. Forgot about him.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Isaiah Foskey has been a monster. He's been on a tear here recently. Yes. We kind of challenged him because he was quiet.
He hurt us,
in the
bro.
Season. Yeah. The last month plus, he's been a game record for Notre Dame. Headley, back to you. Georgia at Kentucky. We talked about Will Levis. Obviously, Chris Rodriguez, I believe he accepted his invite to the Senior Bowl. Really interested to see him. But on that Georgia side, who do we need to focus on other than Jalen Carter, obviously?
Man, you got Christopher Smith, the safety. He had a big bust early in the year. It's dying off a little bit, but he's still playing solid football. Also, you got Keelan Ringo, the corner. Top cornerback 2 for me. Who else you got, man? Nolan Smith's hurt. You're not going to be able to see him. But Georgia have a lot of ballers on the defense side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, you got Washington, the tight end, Stetson Bennett, and the running backs, Kenny McIntosh, and what's the other running back name? Is it Kendall Milton? Oh, and Dewan Edwards. They have a lot of running backs over there, so they got 3 of them.
Yep. I believe there's a tackle there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Roderick Jones.
Absolutely. Tennessee at South Carolina, Drew.
Yeah, man. Tennessee, you got Cedric Tillman. You have Hendon Hooker. You have Darnell Wright. That's the right tackle, if anybody didn't know. You have Jalen Hyatt, obviously. You have Princeton Fant. That's actually that's no offense. I'm not sure if it's his cousin or I don't know, their family in some way, shape, or form. You also have our guy, Jeremy Banks, and you have Byron Young on the defensive side for Tennessee. And then for South Carolina, I know one, but I want to make sure I don't miss the other guy. I'm thinking, just give me a second. No dead air. It's not allowed. It's how you get fired. The program director comes in and says, you guys to go. You got Spencer Rattler.
Cam Smith for sure.
Smith for sure, the cornerback. You have Spencer Rattler. And you know what? This is going to be a game I'm definitely going to watch because I need to see Cam Smith. He was actually my cornerback 1 going into the season, and he's kind of fallen off. So I definitely want to give him respect and see what he does against this scheme and what they're going to do. Tennessee's going to win the game. I don't see a scenario where they don't. But I want to see Cam Smith perform and see what that looks like. And you have Jaheim Bell, the tight end for South Carolina.
I wonder if Hooker's going to avoid. We talk about Hooker and how aggressive he is. I imagine they're going to challenge him. So this is absolutely must see TV to get a good look at Cam Smith. Headley, back to you. Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Ole Miss, you got some receivers out there. You got Jonathan Mingo and Malik Heath. Zach Evans is there, but Quinshawn Judkins looks like the man. He kind of made Zach Evans a little irrelevant. I know he's been battling some injuries as well, so maybe not all on Evans. But and on the other side of the ball, we have who is it? Arkansas. Oh, you know who it is. It is Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders is over there, so make sure you keep an eye on him.
Number 42.
Yeah,
number 10.
Sanders, the running back.
Yeah, Sanders on either side of the ball there for Arkansas. Bedlam, Drew. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma.
You have Eric Gray, the running back for Oklahoma. You have Anton Harrison.
Yes, sir.
The left tackle for Oklahoma. You also have Marvin Mims. He's to no fault of his own. He probably should have transferred the hell out of there. But he stayed to think things could work out. And he's just a guy he's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But he's a guy who's going to pop back on the scene when the combine comes around, because I expect him to do some damage there. And then for Oklahoma State, they've kind of fallen off, man. The boys they had a nice little run, and they've just kind of, just fell on hard times, bro. You have Tyler Lacey, number 89, defensive end. You got Trace Ford, number 94, also defensive end. And I'm missing my guy. Where are you? Jabari Muhammad, number 7.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now let's head over out west. Pac-12, couple of big time matchups here. Headley, you got USC at UCLA.
Yeah,
that's the Battle of Hollywood, right there.
USC, they got. Yeah, it's gonna be a big game, man, because you got a lot of NFL prospects. Jordan Addison. I don't think Travis Dye is gonna. I think he's hurt. I think that's gonna be big for USC. You got Drew guy Tuli Tuipulotu.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we really got to watch is the offensive line of USC, led by Andrew Voorhees, going against UCLA's defensive line. You got my guy Latu over there, and they got some brothers, Gabriel Murphy and Grayson Murphy, along that defensive line that you keep your eye on as well.
Yeah, you definitely.
Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, there you go.
Dorian Thomas Robinson.
Here we go, bro.
Scott, Jake Bobo. Yeah, it's a lot of prospects out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Pac-12 after dark, if I'm not mistaken, Utah at Oregon. Utah has been a thorn in a few teams' side this year. So, And Oregon coming off that tough loss to Washington. Drew, who should we be focused on?
Well, you got the cornerback from Utah, Clark Phillips III. You also have Tavon Thomas, the running back for Utah. You got Cam Rising, the quarterback for Utah. You also have Dalton Kincaid, and then for Oregon, you have Big Boy Nix. You got Christian Gonzalez. You have Justin Flo, linebacker. You have I almost said Noah Fant. Noah Sewell, linebacker. You have I'm forgetting the Dorless
and Johnson.
And Johnson. There we go. You know, and then you got Alex Forsythe if he's playing.
Oregon got a stick, bro.
Yeah, they got a stick.
Bro, the whole Pac-12.
Yeah,
Pac-12 looking good, bro. They looking like the SEC right now, bro.
Yeah,
they got.
I think you mentioned Dalton Kincaid. I'm not sure. My short-term memory is waning as the years pass by, but obviously a lot of matchups here to focus in on, a lot of excellent prospects to zero in on in these matchups. So looking forward to the Saturday slate. That's going to do it. That's going to do it for this edition of the Second Half Draft Show, brought to you by Couch Potato General Manager Drew Headley. As always, great job. Appreciate that insight. Guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Share the video. As far as the rankings and our midseason, not necessarily midseason, a little bit later than midseason, but our 2023 NFL Mock Draft Light Top 10, those will be out on the channel as well. So again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.